Hello, I'm Brandy. This is Hound Dog Hollow. And today, instead of making a video, I decided to do a live. It's going to be about magical slash witchy almanacs and planners. I'm getting some of these, for like 15 years. And some of them I've just I'm trying new this year. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion and kind of do a side by side comparison of what they are. And I have 2017 through today's worth to review. So we'll start with the oldest so I can kind of give you an idea about which ones I've been getting the longest. So the two that I've been getting since I was probably 18 that I don't have all the copies of are the Witches Almanac, which is amazing. Hi, Dawn. Thank you for joining me. The Witches Almanac is really good. It has a collection of different stories, anecdotes, informations, mythology, legends, just lots of really cool information. And the main portions are by astrological signs. And this one usually runs from spring of one year to spring of the next. So this it runs spring to spring. So like I'm still using the 2019 one until spring of 2020. So the middle part is all of the moon signs and then different little helpful hints with little information about all sorts of different. So like they always have what year and animal it is for the Chinese astrology as well. So that's pretty helpful. Every year has a theme. So like 2017 was water. And so it had like magical quotes on water, and all the articles talked about different types of water and what their magical uses would be. Hi, Jennifer. What their magical uses would be. So like why you would want to use moon water, why you would want to use stone water, seawater, how to collect seawater, and for different purposes. Yeah, it was really good. I keep these forever because I basically refer back to the information. It's the middle part is for the year, but the actual information is good magical information just for your grimoire or your book of shadows. So this was a really good one. Different funerary art and what it means. So at the end of every book, they have a more in-depth, like what is it called? Like forecast. And I'm trying to get to it. So they do in-depth astrology chart of a famous figure, and they walk you through that every year. So that's kind of cool. Hi, Lady Blind Wolf. This is the Witches Almanac, and I'll show you this year's, but I'm just going through like, ooh, this was a really good article. Different types of water and how sleeping in your bed can affect you. That was a great one. So like rainwater versus river water versus spring water versus lake water, holy water, all of that. Very, very good. This was a great fable, the Thistle Fable. It's really good information for a well-rounded human. Got a little runny nose, I'm so sorry. Okay, so here's one of my favorite parts is like all the important dates for this year and the next year. Hi, the presage is really good. It tells you all of the retrogrades for the year. So that's really helpful as well. And then it goes through for your sign and it gives a really detailed reading for the year. So that's also really cool. And then they have one that's like what they're estimating the weather is going to be. And then they answer letters from fans. All in all, I've gotten this book every year. This is a great book. So this is 2017. This is 2018, followed the same format, but it was Earth. 2019, I'm not done with because it runs through spring. So this one was actually animals and familiars. So very good, really, really good information here. And I purchased the next one. Actually, no, I think I got this for Christmas. I put it on my Amazon wish list. Hi, Dee. So the next year is stones. So that's going to be really good. I highly recommend this book to you. It's a keepsake for sure. The information's rock solid. good information for just about any kind of spiritual path that you have. Anecdotes, quotes, fables, just a really nice plethora of really good information. So, Witches Almanac. The next one that I've been getting since I was like 18 is, of course, Llewellyn's Magical Almanac. I don't have, wait, is this 2018? Where's my 2017 pile? Oh, there it is. Sorry. Here's my 2017 one. This one also kind of has like a different cover every year. This one follows a lot of the same format, although sometimes it's not as it's not as whereas I get first his almanac, I get a really deep wise woman kind of knowledge stuff. This one's a little bit more light and whimsical. So there's that. The feel's a little different. So this one's all about earth magic. Or no, I'm sorry. This one always has sections on earth magic, air, fire, and water. And it has different information. Great. So different shamanic careers. Drumming up the sun. Just all sorts of different stories about different philosophy, fairy roads, lots and lots of different. There was a really good article, I believe, in this one where it's like good advice or static law. Because recently, I think it was on your thing, D, somebody posted like a witch does this, a witch does that. And this article literally talks about like a witch does whatever the witch does. And some of those things that we always say, they come from certain things and we misuse them. So like even in common English, there's a lot of colloquialisms that we use wrong. Like blood is thicker than water is wrong. It doesn't mean that your family is better than your friends. It said the actual phrase is the blood of the covenant is stronger than the waters of the wombs, meaning that the relationships that you make for yourselves, those bonds that you make are stronger than your family ties because you chose them. Or jack of all trades, master of none. People think of that as a negative thing when it's actually a positive connotation. Or one of my personal favorites is spare the rod, spoil the child. Hello, Jesus and all other shepherds, they didn't beat their sheep with rods. You guide them. It's talking about guidance, not hitting. People just make their own shit up. So this one's a really good, it talks about magic on social media. Be careful with that. If there's ever a time when you think you shouldn't, don't. So I'm trying to get to the main portion. It's got a lot of really good information about your signs and your colors and your days of the week, which I love astrological timing. And then it goes through each month like in this way, where it tells you like an instance of the day, color of the day. I don't like this as much as the other one, to be honest. I don't need all that information. I can kind of infer because I consider myself more than a beginner. But this one's still got, I get this for the articles. Hi, honey. Cookie Meister, I love you. So then it goes through just all sorts of wonderful articles. This one's how to make sweet jars, honey jars, which is a great, easy form of drawing magic. One of the first things I ever learned about was a hoodoo book that my uncle brought home from the trash can. And it honey jars in it. And what was I still remember it to this day, sweet, sweet thoughts of me you will think constantly. And I would shake it and just think about it. I've not done it in many years because I don't believe in love magic, but at this time in my life. But this is a good one, especially for the articles, but also if you are more of a beginner or just whatever. So there's this one. This one's 2017. This one was 2018. It's kind of got like a tree. It follows the same format every year. When the ones that change format, I will tell you when they change format. This one was 2019. Very, very pretty cover. And then 2020. 2020 is this one. Hi, Sierra. Love you. Thank you. My sisters are watching my live. This is pretty funny. Okay, this one's the new one, 2020. I got 2 of these. And so one of them I give away soon. I still have to mail them out, my giveaways. I'm so sorry. It's been the holidays. I promise I'm going to mail everything out very soon. So in 2017, I did start with some new ones that I hadn't been getting for a while because I got just more into it. I had more time. I was finally out of nursing school and my son was getting older, so I had more time to focus. I know. Thank you. So I got these 3 new ones. Let me start with Sabbats. I absolutely love this. I love it. Every single Sabbat is covered and it follows the same format for each Sabbat. And so I'm just going to run through it with you. So every Sabbat has like an intro where it talks about like the general feeling of the Sabbat. And then a cosmic sway where it tells you cosmically what's happening through the course of the Sabbat, any full moons, any new moons, any astrological shifts. Honoring the old ways is pretty nice. I will say that it's Eurocentric. And these Sabbats have been celebrated by many, many cultures. I mean, especially the solstices. But they never to that. It's almost always Polish or Russian or German or Irish or whatever, which is fine, but it's just I don't think it's very representative of all the people who have celebrated these solstices and equinoxes time memorial. So that is my only complaint about that. Take it with a grain of salt. It's the old ways for some people, but not most. Feast and treats are just some ideas for things that you might serve. And crafty crafts, things that you might make for your family that are pretty inexpensive. All in one family dresses like how to do magic with your teens and young kids. With like has a ritual that you can do. So each different holiday covers those topics. I love it. I refer to them every year. There's a lot of good information. They're really nice keepsakes. I have them all. So this is Sabbats from 2017. This is Sabbats from 2018. This is, where's 2019? Oh yeah, 2019. Oh, something important I should tell you. So these run, so this one runs from Samhain 2018 to Mabon 2019. So I've already been in the 2021 for Samhain and Yule. So 2020 is right here. Very pretty. I love these. These are great, great books. Again, disclaimer, you do not need these. These are, especially in the age of the internet, you can find the moon sign in these for your area free. And you can also find information about correspondences, but it does have information that we don't talk about on social media. And if you don't know, you might not know to look, like philosophical concerns, different types of obscure magic. Most of them are actually really good about including like different shamanic and indigenous cultures, practices and beliefs as observed by one of the writers or a person who is actually from that culture. It's just the Sabbat one doesn't really. So everything else has a really good representation. Well, let me start with the moon one because the moon one hasn't changed and the herbal one has. So the 2017 moon sign is, in my opinion, a must-have if you live your life by the moon. It's not anything super, super special, except for, okay, so the first part of the book is always this. It has a weekly forecast with little paragraph of advice, planting suggestions, things like that. because a lot of people of every spiritual background plant by the moon. And then the next topic is gardening by the moon, and it goes extensively into like what you should be doing in each sign and each quarter, what plants, like which time of year to plant. This is a great one if you're going to start your gardening. It really does help, and there is scientific evidence to plant that certain plants do grow or root better in certain times because the moon causes tides, and the moon has a certain gravitational pull that works on water and the planet, and certain plants like different things. So void of course is a really nice thing that they talk about, and it tells you all the void of course times for the year. Those are good things to pay attention to because occasionally there will be a whole day where the moon is void of course and you will feel out of sorts, but you might not necessarily know why, because most of our almanacs and the things that you can find online, they say the moon is in this sign, the moon is in this sign, but they don't tell you when the moon goes void of course. So while the moon was in Aquarius at 12 a.m., it actually has been void of course for the last 12 hours. So you might feel out of sorts. Talks about the moon's rhythm and aspects, and then it goes into some detail about each of the signs and what it means when your moon is in that sign. There's extensive amount of timing for almost every different thing. Like it literally goes through lists and lists and lists of lists for animals, for fertility, for building, for starting a business, for harvesting things, for cutting your hair, for asking for a loan, everything. So I don't do that. I don't get into that. Okay, Rochelle, I don't get that into that much detail, but it's good to know. If it's something really big, I might check on it, but I don't get into that much detail for most of my things. And that's called the aspectarian. And it just says like, is this a good time? Is this a good time? Is this a prosperous time? Is this a I'm trying to think of a word. Auspicious time. And then it extensively covers that. And then there's lots and lots of weather forecasting, because a lot of people of all backgrounds also judge weather by the moon. And it goes through each zone and each season. Economic forecast, which is pretty interesting because it also pulls in where's Jupiter, where's Vesta, where's these other astrological things. This is probably my favorite. It's the new and the full moon forecast. So it tells you what is happening and how each of these things, will affect you on each moon. And that is something I always review before a new moon and a full moon, so I can kind of get a view of like, what do I need to be looking at here? What is it a good time to address? And then, of course, they have their specific articles about the moon. And in this section, they also, so this one specifically had like meditations. I've seen one where they talked about different cultures. So like in Eastern astrology, they have mansions, and each day is a different thing as opposed to ours has signs. And also Hawaiians have a different system as well. And I've seen an article about that. So that's been pretty helpful. It also talks about healing with the moon and meditations you might do. This one's really good. It's a deep, in-depth thing into the 8 phases of the moon. What I liked about this one is that it kind of had a blurb about what this means for your birth time. So I was born on the full moon in Aquarius, and it tells you like if you were born on the full moon. So people who are born during full moons are often intuitive. They often have the potential to be good at linking the past to the future in a positive and constructive way, although they may need to guard against nostalgia. The years leading up to age 50 and the Chiron return are likely to be their most constructive periods. So that's really cool information that I've never seen anywhere else. There's some landscaping. This one's about the many moons. So this one's a science article, and it tells you about the different how many moons each planet has, and some interesting facts about them. Saving seeds. So basically the last half is really just informational articles. Cool. Lots of different cultures. This one's probably like the least witchy. It's really just any spiritual or woke, whatever you want to call it, I don't care, person can benefit from this. So this is 2017. They all follow about the same format. 2018. Let's see. 2019. This one was really pretty. And then I have here, I'm keeping this one for 2020. I like this one. This is a good book. One thing that I got in one of my boxes last year was a company book. It's like a date book. It doesn't have that much information. It literally just has the days like that. It's like a planner. But you guys already know that I do bullet journaling, so I didn't really need it, but I got it for free, so I worked through it. I'm not going to buy it though. I really don't recommend it if you want it. It's, there's nothing wrong with it, and it's got space for writing and tells you the moon signs and has different information about what to expect for each new and full moon. So those are some positive qualities. It's just that I already have a planner that I spend a lot of time on, and so it's not for me. I'm sorry, I'm just catching up on the reading. Okay, last one is the Herbal Almanac, and I did this one last. Actually, it's not last. There's quite a few more. It's just that the ones that I've been getting the longest, this is the last one. So the reason I did this one last for the initial ones that I've been getting is since I've been getting it, it has changed format. So this one, if you are into herbs, and Dee especially, as she goes through, and the illustrated herbery is really a lot of what you guys have been doing is the spiritual work. Yes, that's true. I hate I don't like 3 rings, to be honest, but hey, it has so much information about herbs, culinary, medicinal, beauty, and magical. So everything that you can do, so useful. Lots of different herbs covered. Every year is different, so much, and it tells you like different garden layouts. So this one followed a specific pattern for the couple years, but then I'll show you what the differences are. So the first one is growing and gathering, and it tells you like helpful insects, different types of gardens, gardening by square inches or square feet, how to keep bees, how to have a winter herb garden. And then it goes into, oh, awesome, Dee. Culinary, and it talks about, this one specifically had different weeds that you can eat, different flavors, herb substitutes that you could use, sage, all the nightshades. So nightshades or nightshades are like tomatoes, peppers, potatoes, eggplants, delicious, some of my favorite foods. Herbs for health and beauty, so herbs for teen hormones, naturally beautiful DUI products, turmeric, plant therapy, so all sorts of really good information. Crafts you can do with herbs, so paper streamers, raffia projects, pomodors, how to make dye, and then herb history, mythology, and lore, which is so interesting. I love that. So like the almond, the history of Beatrix Potter's fairy tales, Woad and the Painted Celt, the different names of herbs. So this is a really good one. And so basically it's all the stories, all the articles. This one's article heavy. It's not so heavy in the actual day-to-day stuff. This is for a green witch for sure, or even for any person who's just a gardener or are really interested in herbs. So literally all of it is articles, except for this last part is the quarters of the moon and when signs, and then the moon tables. That's just literally the last part of the book. Super helpful. Lots of good information. You could literally, over a course of a couple years, have your herbal book of shadows completely full of tons of information. So that's 2017. 2018, I believe, had the same format. Yes, 2018 had the same format. I want to say 2019 is the year that it changed. Yes, 2019 is the year that it changed. Okay, so So they still did the growing and the gathering. So different like practical advice for growing these plants, or I'm sorry, different varieties of plants. Cooking, so cooking with the plants, health and beauty, do it yourself and crafts, plant profiles, which was really cool. So it went into an in-depth kind of scientific, well-rounded talk about chives, kales, cardamom, and lavender. And then in the back now, because they weren't really having a whole lot of what you see in the other almanacs, what we kind of reviewed in the other almanacs, they kind of changed the back to be more practical for the gardener. And now it's called Gardening Resources. And so there's a wonderful guide on companion planting and cooking with herbs and spices. Like so it's really cool. The herb, its flavor notes, and what it's good for. Different gardening techniques, different ideas for themed gardens for your year, just in case you want to do that. So this one's pretty cool. This one's a lunar garden, edible flower garden, just really cool ideas. And then it gives you ideas and diagrams to plan your garden. And it just like, and then it has stuff like in January, what is on your to-do list? What did you do? And some notes for your garden and some little hints. So it was very, very cool and practical. And that's the new format, which I really like. This is a good book, especially for me. I did not grow up with anybody who knew how to garden. So I didn't get that knowledge hereditarily. And I'm struggling to catch up. So it's really helpful to me. And then let's see, this is the 2021. Same concept in the back. Let's look. I'll give you guys a sneak peek. This is their suggestion for 2020 themed gardens. A knot garden. An apothecary garden. Look at that. Pretty, pretty. And then this one's a Scarborough Fair garden. Oh, thank you. I'm trying. Sometimes I feel like a plant hospice worker, but I've gotten better so they don't automatically die when they come to my house. My thumb's no longer gray. It's just brown. Hopefully it'll turn green at some point. Okay, so those are the ones that I had been getting for a while. In 2019, I expanded my, in 2018, I started getting one more book. It's the Spirit de la Lune, Tune to the Moon Planner. The first year, we had a garden. Oh, Rochelle, that still sounds pretty good. Oh, D, it's true. Plant hospice, bless their little hearts. It doesn't happen so much anyway. I've gotten better with the watering. And I've actually, in this area over here, I've got my little citrus tea and they're blooming. So hopefully I'm getting better. I think that I don't know. I feel like older people are just really cool with herbs and gardens. I'm going to get there. So the first year that I got this planner, it was all paper. You had to print it yourself, which was garbage. But it had really, really good information. Yeah, there's so many things that we don't appreciate when we're a kid. I'm trying. There's no going back. Hindsight's 2020. So then in 2018, they had it in this format, but it's so big. It was really challenging. But let me just show you because they have the same kind of format. So basically, they introduce you. This is it can be a companion to the Spirit de la Lune lunar deck, which is amazing. Amazing. One of my very favorite decks. I cannot recommend it enough. It's very good. But you can use it without it. It's just that the spreads are kind of for it. So it's kind of like a companion with that. It really does keep it interesting. So every moon, they'll call it the moon that it is, like the sage moon is usually what we start the year in. And then it'll show the moon calendar. It'll have some crystal allies, some ideas for crystals that might be your allies this moon cycle. Hi, Kelly. Hi. Oh, it's late in Florida. They have every year you choose your word of the year. I don't follow their ritual. My husband and I did a private ritual together, and this year we gave each other words of the year. So he wished for me persistence, and I wished for him productive. So we'll see how it goes. And so basically you have a moon compass, and you can track or do whatever it is you feel. I know, right? And then it has a weekly forecast. So basically it says what the words of your week are, what's something that's happening. You can write your new moon intentions when it's a new moon. It's a sample spread, highlight on a crystal. One, it starts with a new moon. Then each day you have little places to journal. I didn't do the first month because I got it late. First quarter, what sign is it in, some information, what is your action steps, crystal, gives you time, a little activity and a journaling thing for the quarter. And then of course the daily pieces. This one is for the full moon. So it has the full moon, the word for the full moon, the forecast. You can write your blessings, what you're grateful for. So that's really nice. How to make a special bath for this particular full moon. A crystal, a mandala that you can color. And then pages for you to journal and write your information. Then the weekly. Then the last quarter. So like, what are you releasing? A crystal, an activity. You can journal about the activity and information. So basically, that's the format that it follows all year. Okay, just going through. The only thing that I didn't like is how big and hard it is to get around with. So I got this in a paper version in 2018. In 2019, I got this version. And let me show you this year because it's badass. One other thing. I got the, oh, I thought I did. I can't find it. Oh, here it is. I got the sticker pack that comes with it, and they are selling it still. Beautiful stickers, different solstices, different zodiac signs. And then this is ovulation and period tracking, different symbols, different moon stickers. I am not going to use this in the planner, different crystal stickers. I'm going to use this in life. They're really pretty. I love them too. Yeah, this one's really cool. I bought this year. Let me show you this year because they did it a little different. Every year they're doing it a little different. But unlike Llewellyn, who I have all my other books from, and the Witches Almanac, who have been doing it for like decades, these girls are just starting out. So for their sophomore efforts, I think they're pretty amazing. This beauty is this Tears. Very beautiful artwork, very beautiful color. It's flexible and it's smaller. It's still bound, and I hate that, but I haven't even looked at it, so you guys are going to be looking at it with me. But I know that it's different. So it tells you the layout for each moon cycle, which is really cool. So you kind of know what to expect. It's really pretty. And this is a very, very small company. So they're pretty cool. I did order the bundle that comes with stickers and other stuff, and it didn't come with it. And I sent them an email, and they're going to send it to me. So basically, they're explaining like how to read the signs and what the legend means and all that other stuff. They're walking you through it. Oh, they've got some really beautiful blurb about each sign and an overview of each moon and what that's going to look like for the whole year. Will I be posting? I can add links later. Yeah, for sure. And I've also reviewed last year's, and I also reviewed the deck. So check those out too. The signs and the elements. So they have nice spread ideas for each of the signs, or for each of the elements. Sorry, and it tells you that. There we go. So it has a sample ritual for each element. It has crystals for each element. And then it's like, okay, if you're an air sign and you want balance, add earth. If you're an air sign and you want to stabilize, use these. If you're an air sign and you want to nurture yourself, use these. If you're an air sign and you want to activate yourself, use these. And it goes through that for each type. So that's new, and I really like this. Front end is really brand new for this. It's really, really good. So it's the same. What I usually track is, did I journal? Did I write in my book of shadows? And then I color it in. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna put this somewhere. This is the Wheel of the Year. I'm gonna put this somewhere. Like copy it onto some other art. There's different Wheel of the Year readings for each different Sabbat, and sample rituals for each Sabbat. It's like my computer camera, so it's not very good. So you might not be able to see it, but you kind of get the idea. And if there's enough requests, I can do a more detailed page by page review before I write anything in it. But I might not. So then this is the Wolf Moon, which is kind of where we're at right now. And it's got the calendar days. It's got your moon compass. They have one for the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere because they're different. They've got a really cool spread for the new moon and places you can chart. And you can write your intentions. They've got a weekly astrology report with a crystal highlight, and then the actual weekly pages are smaller, which is good because I don't use this as a planner for mundane things. I use this as a planner so like when I do my moon decks, I have 2 moon decks. I have Spirit de la Lune and I have the Queen of the Moon. When I do my things, I like to write my notes in this planner. And so it's just enough space for me. Yes, the deck is beautiful. And they have a special that you can get the planner and the bundle. I don't know. I thought they had it. Maybe it was just Black Friday, but they did have it, and it wasn't even that much more expensive. And then it just goes through first quarter. Beautiful mandala to color. Gives you some ideas for a wolf moon ceremony. The paper feels nice. It does. In my experience, it bleeds a little bit, but I use Stabilos, which are really rich, pigment-rich markers. It hasn't been bad. Like, I don't feel like it's ruined or anything, but it definitely is. It's sturdy enough for your, if you were to use color pencils, it would be fine. But I like to use really rich markers. And so it bleeds a little bit, but the paper feels fine. It's not the thickest, but it's not the thinnest either. Full moon week. So it talks about a gem astrology report, and then it starts over. And then let's see if the end has anything different. No, it ends exactly the way that it goes on like that forever, basically. And then the end back looks like this. So this one's more of a planner. It's very nice. Very, very nice. I like it a lot. I actually like the changes that they made this year. In my opinion, it gets better every year. So then 2 more from 2019, because that's really when things started to get different. So The Witch's Companion, A Guide to Temporary Living. I liked it a lot. It doesn't have any, I'm just double checking before I misspeak, but it doesn't really have any almanac stuff. Oh, it does. I misspoke. I was literally checking and I jumped the gun. Okay. It's got the almanac, kind of like you see in the Llewellyn Magical Almanac, but just more brief, which I appreciate because I kind of feel like that one's a little bit too detailed. I don't care for it. And then it has articles about all sorts of different topics. I'll tell you the sections. Community forum, so provocative opinions on contemporary topics. And I especially love this because, number one, we don't talk enough in depth with each other without talking shit to each other. We just jump right into talking shit about how everybody else is wrong. Hi, Yvette. So it's nice for me to get information. And even if I think she's completely wrong and I don't agree with her, it's nice for me to hear her whole thought and argument and ponder on it. And I don't think that we do that often enough. So I really like that section a lot. Magical self-care is a great section. Witchy living, so day-to-day witching on the cheap. Using pop culture in your magical practice, which I do a lot, and I feel like we should do more. What happens when your spell crashes? Using witching stones, scrying, devotional practice, how to stock your magical broom cupboard, and then of course, it has the lunar stuff at the end. So just a lot of really good information. This one's more for just information. Just instead of me having a coven or a teacher or somebody, it's just like people out in the community giving me their thoughts, and I can kind of like digest them in my own time, in my own way. So I got that one for this year as well. As far as I can see, it's the same format. Ooh, let's see what the articles are this year. The provocative opinions this year are: coven or cult, how to tell if your group has crossed the line into dangerous territory. I will never do a coven, but God bless you if you are needing this article. Higher spirituality, cannabis, not a real witch, authenticity and imposter syndrome. Ooh, this is going to be a good one. Maybe we should do a little live on that. We can read it and talk about it. Thorn Mooney explores the obsession with authenticity and realness in witchcraft spaces. Hey, I feel like I watched a video on her. I feel like I watched a video that she did in response to that crazy Swedish girls video. She was really level-headed and intelligent. It was a really good video. Thorn Mooney's video was really good. Keeping pagan ways during the holidays. I know. I think the chapter will still be good. I thought she was pretty level-headed. Ethical love spells. Ethical love spells will be really good. Because like I told you, I went through a phase where I was doing some not good ones, and I've grown out of it. Read that entire chapter. It's good. Building bridges, how to design interfaith rituals, which I think we need a time when we're just building these bridges between us, or building these walls between us. We need more bridges. Ooh, magical self-care is dealing with depression, holistic sleep management. So you had a bad day. The relief of winter, transforming trauma. Ooh, girl, we all need that. I can't think of her name either. The crazy one. Who was the crazy one? She's talking about don't use plastic while she has her fucking drone film her out in the woods with all of her. I don't know. It seems like an affectation. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just a bitch. I don't know. But I think that's her. Yeah. Rekindling a witch, confronting turmoil and emerging empowered. Witchy living, workplace magic, survival guide for the solitary suburban witch, magical calisthenics, ooh, walking and running as a magical act, bringing back hospitality, finding your magical voice, pocket-sized protection symbols, pagan prayer beads, cool, travel-size altars, online research for pagan writers, and magical prep for the nursery. Planning and running group rituals, and lotion potions for daily self-care and magical first aid. I know, right? She sounds like me after climbing stairs. Okay, good book. I highly recommend it. I'll see if I can do some videos sharing some of it. What I didn't like, I know, right? Or somebody's especially delicious at the end, or danger. Danger, definitely. I didn't like the Witches Fell a Day. You guys know that for the most part, I make most of my own work. The suggestions were good, but frankly, the suggestions in here can last me basically forever. I feel like if you make an effort to really learn what it is that each thing in your spell work is doing, you can make a spell for anything. You can make your own spells out of anything. You don't need any help. I just like some of the ones that are like historical. Yes, exactly. That is exactly true, D. I don't run for just about anything. So it had some good stuff. I just don't need it. So I dropped this one for 2020. This I got from Tamed Wild, and I never used. It was just like some intention stuff. But the paper is glossy, and so it wasn't good for writing on. So I didn't use that either. So the one new one that I got this year, and I had it in my cart, and then I found out that one of my boxes was going to send it to me, and it's this one. I will tell you how it goes, but it seems legit. It looks really good. Look at this beautiful artwork in the beginning. Isn't that a beautiful Wheel of the Year? Magical clowns. Ooh, gross. So beautiful. I'm going to just spend a little time going through this because this is so pretty. So it looks like this is from Portland. Some months, calendar months. You are lucky, Rochelle. Clowns are gross. So basically, it talks about keys and symbols, using your almanac. Cool. So basically, there's wow, this is all really cool. So it's telling like the setup of the book. Oh, Rochelle. It has some simple recipes for you to make your own incense and stuff. It talks about time conversions in case you're from a different part of the world. So this one's kind of nice. So it says My Path. It's got every day of the month. It's got some notes. It talks about like ideas for herbal study and so on and so forth. Stones to study. So for the first month of January, it suggests herbs that you study is rosemary, sage, and wormwood. Stones that you study is rose quartz, tourmaline, and jasper. Consider before casting. Sometimes the best you can do to help others and yourself is to love both. Your tarot cards for January are the Fool and the Magician. Often thought to be named after the Roman god Janus, this month's name actually comes from the Latin inua, meaning door. Ooh, that's cool. So then, cool. I didn't know this, but look at that. January 5th, the Earth is closest to the sun as it will be the whole year. So that's pretty cool. So, this one has a page about good fishing times, particularly good times to fish. Very interesting. Information about working with the moon, of course. What book would be complete without that? Okay, February is very similar. So it's got like, wow, it's all really good. It's really good so far. Sun and moon in the zodiac signs. It's got some information on that. You guys know I love that kind of work. Then it goes into gardening by the moon. And talks about moon opposing Saturn. So basically it's going through every month and it's got really good information. Dark moons and new moons. Ooh. It talks about some changes to honoring the dark moon and the new moon. Sabbats and their symbols. The path of the Southern Hemisphere witch. Who are the witches? Ooh. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I love moon magic. Same. Kyler's path, Willow's path, and it just talks about different paths, which I think is really cool. 13 full moons, and then the different distances, because you know the bigger the closer it is, the bigger the moon. So that's what we call the super moons. It goes on to all these different people's paths, sunrise and sunset times in general. There's a lot of really good information. Pendulum work. Ooh, look at this magical alphabet. It's got a lot of really pretty stuff that I can move into a more permanent book at a later time. And it keeps going about these different, oh my god, look guys, it's got a witchy crossword. Isn't that so cute? So cute. A protection spell, incense recipes, the Lausch. Ooh. And then different scripts. That's Theban. Breakfast biscotti recipe. Celebrating the Sabbat ideas. What is this? Decoding the binomials. Well, that's pretty cool. So it's just like different things that. Hi, Earthy Taurus. Hi, Diane. Oh, hi. So it talks about like what different. So borealis, it means northern, which I already knew because the aurora borealis are the northern lights, and I forget what the southern lights are called. I don't remember. I want to say it's something else. Different seeing shadows in the corner of your eyes, and it goes on to some length about that. Ooh. This is like a little thing about banishing shadows, so that's pretty cool. Ooh, a recipe for etouffee, which is just delicious. Herbs, mountain hash, and some lunar stuff. Goes through some tarot stuff. Mostly like each month she assigns a couple of major arcana. Oh, cool. And she talks about and also the minor arcana she's going through and the numbers. So she's going through that. She's got runes here. I do love Alaska's Northern Lights. I've been lucky enough to see it once, and I hope to see it again when we go back up there. Stones, crystals, and minerals. It's pretty big. It's pretty heavy. Color associations, glossary, index. Wow. Oh, and there's more. Glossary, index, credits and references. That's always a good thing. So they got notes in the little grid and exact Sabbat times, which is pretty cool. Talks to you a little bit more about eclipses. And then notes. So this looks really good. I'm really, really excited about this. So that's a lot, but that's all the planners that I got. I think there's more out there for sure. Just nothing that I'm really into. I like informational, especially philosophical information about like why certain things are working or why we are doing things, because so many of us, yeah, that book is great. So many of us get our information second or third hand or by the internet, and we're told things that may be true but not for the reasons that we're being told, or that are true but we don't get any reason, so we have no idea why, or that are not true because people have misconstrued the reasoning behind it. Do I have one that's my favorite? They're all my favorite. I hate saying that. Okay, so again, it depends on what you're into. If you don't follow, I think you could probably get by without the moon one. I would definitely say the herb ones. If you like herbs, it's a really, really good asset. If you don't, not much. The two general ones are the Witches Almanac, which is very good, and the Llewellyn's Magical Almanac. I guess if I had to pick one, I would hate it, but the Witches Almanac would probably have a lot of good information. However, I really like the modern one, the Modern Witches Companion, because they have issues that our community talks about, but in a more knowledgeable, level-headed way, so that we can actually get information instead of just being bark, 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 bark. So I guess I would say strictly as a magical almanac, the Witches Almanac, followed by the Magical Almanac, because even though this one looks really, really cool, I don't have any experience with it, and I have a lot of experience with the other twos. So as you notice, they're each for different topics. So as a general plain almanac, this would be my number one, the Witches Almanac. It has timeless information, good information, and it's got a really simple almanac structure. This one is better for a beginner, but still very good. Lots of good information. The information's good. The layout, I feel like, is more for a beginner. The Sabbats are essential for me because I was not raised with any of that. So all the information coming in is really good. Plus, I like it. I'm into Sabbats because I'm into magical timing, passing with the seasons, feeling the seasons pass, living my life in this moment. The moon, I live my life by the moon, so this one's really good. It's not necessary, though. I wouldn't say that it's necessary to live your life by the moon. You can get the information that you need, the basic information that you need on any astrological website, which is basically you need to know when the moon is and what phase it's in. The herbs is really, really good if you like herbs or if you're trying to learn more about herbs like me. And this one's really, really good, but I will say that it works best as a companion to the deck. So if you don't have the deck, it's probably not going to be best for you. And I think that covers all of them. The new one I can't speak to yet, and this one isn't really an almanac. It's just current events for witches, which is important. We need actual factual, well, there's really not facts, but philosophical content to keep us limber, intellectually limber. Oh, I missed some questions. I'm sorry. Do you have one that is your favorite? What about one for stones? I don't have one for stones. I'm not super into stones yet. So you find that you use each of them for different things, and do you find that you read each of them every day? Do not read them each every day. So Sabbats I read when I'm preparing for a Sabbat. Moon signs I read everything pertinent through the 2 weeks of the moon cycle that I'm in. So usually I read it every other week, I guess I would say, for 2 weeks through the book. And then the Witches Almanac and the Magical Almanac, I look at the pages as I do my moon cycle as well. The actual, where's the moon, any suggestions, that kind of stuff. And I kind of read the articles all throughout the year when I have time. And this one is just articles, so I read it when I have time. The Herbal Almanac, the most of the information you can use anytime because it's not, except for the kind that's like how to plant the things, and you should do that before you plant. This one's an everyday. And that's basically how I do it. Hi all. Hello. Hi Anna. Hi Amber. Good suggestion, D. I'm wanting that Witches Almanac. Yeah, the Witches Almanac's pretty good. Let's see what the stories. So it's stones this year. Let's see what the articles are. Oh, a poem about sunflowers by William Blake. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow is kind of like they always talk about different stuff. It's not something I can pin down. It's just ephemeral stuff. News, stone spelling, delving deeply into the Greek alphabet oracle. Railroad spikes and magic. Ooh, that seems really cool. We used to have a whole bunch of railroad ties. I like railroad spikes. Goddess of no escape. Interesting. Probably some good mythology here. Bridging the worlds with music. So that's pretty cool. I'm a firm believer in witches. Intention, attention, and storytelling. Notes toward a general theory of magic, part 4. So that's pretty cool. The Darning Needle. Oh, I love these fables. I love, love, love the fables. Every book has the fables, and I love them very much. The Cult of Birthstones. Ooh, that'll be pretty cool. The Art of Magic, an expert from Raven Grassi's What We Knew in the Night. So that one's more about like philosophical musings on magic, which I'm really interested in. This one's they have every time, and it's basically the gardening and the moon information. And then they started with a calendar. So we got Aries, and it talks about Aries birthstone, geometric figures, Amicio. Taurus is emerald. Notable quotes on stones, so that's pretty cool. River stones remain while water flows away. Gemini is moonstone. The tarot card this year is the moon. Cancer's ruby. Leo's peridot. Picture of Lilith. This one, the Witches Almanac. I actually think I bought this one at Barnes and Nobles, but you can Amazon probably has it for dirt cheap. It's just the Witches Almanac. I don't even know who writes it. But it's like literally a little company, and the only thing they do is send out this book. So this is the elder tree, and it talks about that. Virgo's a sapphire. Ooh, kitchen magic, bean fritters. Libra is the opal. Here's an art. Thank you, Rochelle. Scorpio is citrine. Ooh, Victorian slang. Like we don't have enough of that in our life. Gas pipes is really tight pants. Bricky is brave or fearless. Butter upon bacon, extravagance. Half rats, partially drunk. Church bell, a talkative woman. Oh Lord, this is all. The bubbies are boobs. Don't sell me a dog. Don't lie to me. Weird. Sagittarius is Tanzanite. Oh, the year of the metal rat. So it's my Jupiter return, which means that we're back in the year of the rat. I was a wood rat. This is a metal rat. Capricorn is garnet. So origami cranes. Aquarius is amethyst. Lancashire witches. Some kind of script from an old magic book. Pisces is aquamarine. Legends of the Fairy Cross. So maybe Summer will be interested in that. The Power of the Shadow. Ooh, this goes along with your work, Dee. I also am going to be working on that this year. Connecting with the spirits of place. So this is actually very, very interesting. I'm super excited about that because in my ancestral reading, we've talked about spirits of place or, people who have died where you've lived or in your area. And just like channeling that. So that's pretty cool. Really interested in that. It has talk about the weather. Ooh, domino divination. And then how to do that. Embodying a god form. Interesting. Holy stones. I've always wanted to find one, but I have not yet. Hag stones is what I call them. Hecate and the twin torches. The Danger fiddle, lodestones. So just really timeless, good information for the most part. Nature's secret magic, the food of the gods, making offerings to the Orisa of Yoruba land. So this is pretty cool. This one, another thing I like about this is this one really is multicultural. They have tons of different cultural backgrounds. I've learned a lot from this one. The mysteries and myths of Moldavite. Witches, bitches, and twitches. Cool. Bones and other animal remains. Oh my God. See, it's so perfect because I've been working on my bone throwing kit. That's actually, I got some pieces for it today. So this is really, really perfect. This is a good book. And we definitely don't talk about that. Merry Meetings. It's like different things that are happening, but they're all East Coast, so I never get to do any of that. Yeah, there's a lot of books. There's a lot of books. I need to do something about that. But I'm working on it. My husband keeps building these shelves, and I keep filling them faster than he can build them. The magic of seashells and fossils. So again, this goes really well with my bone throwing kit. So I'm pretty excited about that. Hey, that looks like a bone throwing kit right there, guys. Look at that. It's definitely a throwing bones kit. Witch windows. Cool. Hawking Hills, a legend in stone. And then every year they talk to you about different stars and astrological constellations. So last year was the Pleiades. This year is Algol. Saying witch in European languages. Ooh, that's pretty cool. So let me see. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I thought I was going to do it. So Danish is hex. French is sorcerer. German is hexe. Norn, Kalich. I knew that Irish was Kalich. Strega is Italian. Regana is Lithuanian. Bruxa is Portuguese. Bruja is Spanish. So that's pretty cool. Hawking Hills. Let me see. It just has like a legend around it, I guess. You should check it out, Heather. Might be pretty cool. Stephen Hawking's the astrological chart this year. And then it goes through like what that all means and some information about him. Celestial Powers. This is a story about Greek gods. The Beast of Borges is about Jorge Luis Borges. Aesop's Fables, the Heron. I love the fables. They're great. Lead curse tablets. Ooh, interesting. Lead curse tablets. Very cool. And then, of course, it has the year states for this year and next year, or 21 and 22. Then the presage, so it talks about where all the planets are going to be, which ones are going to be retrogrades, when the eclipses are. Bruxa. Yeah, that makes sense because the Spanish one's bruja. And Portuguese actually sounds really close to Spanish, and so does Italian and French. And then each individual sign, information about each individual sign, like 2 pages. So it's pretty in-depth. Sites of awe, and they talk about different significant places. This is the White Well of Glastonbury. And then it has some reviews on some new re-releases. Weed the Limnal, The Orphic Hymns, Transformative Witchcraft, Secret of Solomon, The Witch's Book of Mysteries, The Alchemic Visions Tarot, Mirror of Magic, Encounters of Nature Spirits, and then some letters to the editor. So, and then it's got like little places where you could buy stuff. Really cool. Great book. I've gotten it for ages and it never disappoints. It's got really timeless information. So, yeah, I'm happy to share all that information with you guys. Is there any questions or anything about any of the books or? Oh, Kelly, that's great. I love seashells. I used to go tide pulling with my papa. When I probably said the Italian name wrong. D. I used to go tide pulling with my papa when I was little, Kelly. That's great. Thank you so much, sweetie. I have a few books in my car now. I know, that's my problem. If you guys want some good books on witchery, but also philosophical information, Witch Booktube from the Witches Box is amazing. And she does an in-depth review. And the reason is it's very, very, very easy to find introductory books. They're so fun. I have so many of them. I love them. I'm not knocking them. But she only does intermediate to advanced books so that you get into, why am I doing this? Why do we do these things this way? What does it mean to be a sigil? And how can they be used? And what are we doing with that? How do you harness chaos magic? Or I got a book called 6 Ways, and it's really good. And it's talking about like, what exactly are we thinking we're doing with these different steps, and what's the purpose, and how, all this other stuff, different things. So I read almost all the books that she talked about for ancestral worship. And she did extensive work on sigils, which I haven't gotten into. How expensive is the book subscription box? Her book subscription is $35, but her YouTube videos are free. So you just check out her YouTube videos about the reviews, and then I just put them in my Amazon cart. The difference is that you guys have like a set, talking time with each other about the book that you all read together. Yeah, exactly, Dee. But the Witch Booktube is free, and I highly recommend that because I found a lot of really good books, a lot of really good books on a variety of different topics, but deeper dives into specific topics so that like, why am I doing this? Because I feel like a lot of the things is that we know that we should, but we don't necessarily know why we should. So I'm really interested in that, because then you get to the point where when somebody says witches should do blah, 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 you can say, actually, that I don't believe that anybody can say that. I didn't leave organized religion for you to tell me how to live my life as a pagan. No, don't do that. Yes, you're right, Dee. It's the Witches Box. Her series that she calls it is Witch Booktube. I can't pull it up right now because I'm scared to touch any of this without messing it up. But it's the Witches Box on YouTube. And I'm pretty sure that I have the link in my Witches Box review. And then she has tons of videos that she calls Witch Booktube. And they're about in-depth dives into each. Thank you, Dee. She hasn't been doing, she's having a fallow period, which is really interesting. Where basically she doesn't do the social media thing for a little while just to recharge. But other than that, she does a lot of reviews, usually about weekly. And I bought a lot of the books, and they're really good. They're really deeper dive information that I'm kind of looking for. Exactly, Dee and Kelly. I don't want to be told. If you have good information, like the reason that it's done like this is because we're trying to blah, blah, blah. That's a different story than saying that's wrong because you're supposed to do it this way, which is not what I want to hear. If you have a good reason why I should do it this way, magically or spiritually or even practically, then that's good information that I need to know. But I don't care about what you do. That's your business. That's between you and your gods. I know. I just got a whole bunch of books. If you guys want, I can come back on tomorrow and go through all the books because there's so many. But I haven't read them yet. I peeked through all of them. I'm so into my bone throwing books right now, and I'm trying to make a list of different pieces that I need to collect. Because it's, part of the thing is that you make it. You collect the pieces yourself. And so I'm working on that. Exactly, yeah. Exactly, Rochelle. And I do like hearing what others like to do. I really do, which is why I watch all your guys' channels. What I don't like hearing is that there's rules. There aren't rules. I don't think that there are rules. So far, I've read Bones, Curios, and Bones, Shells, and Curios, which was really good, and Throwing Bones by Catherine Yarnwood. I'm working on right now, but I can do another video on the Throwing Bones to show you what I have so far, and also to show you the books that I've been working on. So those are two things that might be pretty interesting that I can work on. But I am hungry, and my husband hasn't come to bother me, which is a testament to his fortitude. Exactly, Heather. And I'm eclectic, so I pull from a lot of different spiritual backgrounds. So I just don't like dogma. Please, no dogma. No, 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 none of that. Exactly. And for the most part, it's not an issue. Most of the time, people are really cool and really, respectful and open, curious, respectful is the operative word, I think. Which I know for me can be hard because I tend to be terse, especially when I think I'm right. But this is one of the few aspects where I'm like, okay, I'm not right. Although it does border on some things, especially when it starts to, especially herbs, because herbs tend to stray into medicine, which I do know a lot about. And so sometimes people say, help anybody. It doesn't really work. Don't. No, none of that. It's all good by itself. Exactly, Rochelle. It is a good time. I'm having a good time. And nobody, thank God, has gotten cute with me. So thank God for that. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And I have really good friends here. I'm so grateful for you guys. It's really a good, healthy situation that I'm blessed with here. And I like to keep it that way. I don't know how come I don't get onto the crazy people, but I guess it's because I'm not really part of a lot of witchy social media. I'm only really on YouTube. I'm part of a couple of your guys' groups. But I'm not super active on it. So I guess that's part of the reason also why I don't get a whole lot of bull honky. All right. I love you guys. Plus, we are still really small channels. I know. I can't wait till I get to 1,000 because I can't do these lives on my freaking phone until I'm 1,000. And I can't do little, like, which video would you like? The things on my channel either until I'm 1,000. So that's kind of a pain in the ass. I can't wait to just be a full-fledged channel. Awesome. Yeah, I'm really eclectic too. And the more that I travel and live and experience, the broader it gets. I know the community tab so badly. Because then I could be like, okay, I can only do one video this week. Do you guys want this, this, or this? And then I could have a target. Much love, Kelly. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to get going. If you guys want, you guys have all like I talk to most of you on social media and stuff. You can ask any questions. Some of the almanacs are good for basically forever. And you can go back and buy them for dirt cheap at the end of the year. So like if you wanted something that you saw but you weren't really going to use it till the end of the year, that would be a great thing to do also. All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Good night.